Welcome back to the 10th episode of the BatChums podcast.
Woohoo, 10th.
I'm Drew Leiter, and joining me tonight is my co-host, the man, the myth, the new legend, Mike Gordon.
Howdy. Happy 10th episode.
Yes, we've made 10 so far.
We've made 10.
Big anniversary.
Absolutely. Hey, some podcasts don't get this far. So 10 is pretty solid. Would have been weird to end with 9 though, because we would have literally ended on a cliffhanger.
Yes, that's true.
So we had to do 10 at least, right?
Not like we haven't been fighting technology trying to get this out, huh?
That's true. That's true. But it seems like your technological issues are resolved. So hopefully that means all can go well for our next 10 at least, right?
Yeah, I hope so.
10 down. We've done 10 episodes of Batman 60 series, which have been so much fun. But when I say the worst is yet to come, I mean, hopefully not that bad, but we've got 110 episodes left. I mean, we barely scratched the surface, Drew.
I'm looking forward to seeing more. So
Absolutely.
There's a lot more to come.
There are.
And I don't even know if it's the worst.
You know what? If we've already passed the worst, then man, this is going to be a blast.
All right, so we got episode 10, A Death Worse Than Fate. The episode aired Thursday, February 10th, 1966. Director was Norman Foster, and it was written by Lorenzo Semple Jr. All right, let's dive into the episode. When we last left things, Aunt Harriet was kidnapped. And of course, before we even get into this episode, I almost forgot. We got to consult Magic Batman.
Magic Batman, because we don't have a Magic Aunt Harriet.
No, we don't. So let's consult Magic Batman and see if Aunt Harriet will make it out alive or not.
Will she be dipped in boiling oil and deep fried Harriet?
It says don't count on it.
Oh.
Well,
Ouch.
I guess that's the end of Aunt Harriet.
Oh, poor Mrs. Cooper.
There we have it. Magic Batman says Aunt Harriet is not going to make it out alive.
Ah.
All right.
That's the first time he's been negative.
Yes, it has. All right. So Chief O'Hara frantically makes phone calls while Commissioner Gordon paces back and forth in his office. Robin is also at police headquarters while Batman is out looking for Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne shows up at police headquarters hoping he is not too late. Bruce Wayne gives Robin a message from Batman to carry on without him while he follows up on a clue. Back at Zelda's hideout, Mrs. Cooper is dangling over a vat of flaming oil while blindfolded and in a straitjacket. Zelda is sitting in a chair, crocheting and watching a Western. I had to laugh at that. I mean, what TV show have you ever seen a villain just sitting there crocheting and watching TV with a lady right behind her kicking her legs over a flaming boiling oil? It was a weird sight.
For someone who says that they're not really that violent of a criminal, that they abhor violence, I think she says later on, she seems pretty okay with this.
Yes.
But then again, this is her trade. Like, she is an escape artist. She sees these kind of death traps all the time. She doesn't think anything of them, probably.
That's true. The broadcast of the Western is interrupted by Commissioner Gordon, Bruce Wayne, and Robin, who give out a phone number for the criminal who kidnapped Mrs. Cooper to call. They promise the line is not being traced. Robin reveals that the money Zelda stole was real and the story in the newspapers was a fake to draw her out. Because the money is real, Zelda agrees to free Mrs. Cooper. A while later, Mrs. Cooper is dropped off on a street corner. They couldn't take her back to Wayne Manor? Back at Wayne Manor, the doctor has Mrs. Cooper sedated. After the doctor leaves, Bruce reveals that he has deduced the identity of the kidnapper. Alfred gives the dynamic duo a book of matches that reveals where the kidnapper's hideout is, the Gnome bookstore. Batman and Robin arrive at the Gnome bookstore to find a note that reads, "To whom it may concern, try interesting volume on top shelf, last book of back row." The note leads them to a book titled The Truth About Bats. Batman and Robin find a secret back room. A curtain opens, revealing a booth with a bat inside. Batman and Robin step inside the booth. The bat suddenly becomes a skeleton of a bat. The door suddenly swings shut behind them and locks. Evil Ekdal challenges Batman and Robin to escape his inescapable death trap. He releases a deadly gas into the chamber. Batman uses their utility belts to ignite the gas from the electrical plate. The explosion blasts through the plastic. When Batman and Robin jump off the stage, Zelda warns them of the mummies. Batman and Robin duck as gunfire goes off. The bullets miss them, but the gangsters hit each other. Evil Ekdal tries to run away, but Batman throws a batarang at him, knocking him out. Zelda surrenders herself, and Batman puts the handcuffs on her. Sometime later, at Gotham State Penitentiary, Bruce Wayne meets with Zelda and offers a deal for saving Batman and Robin's life. After she has served her time, the Wayne Foundation will offer her a position as a resident magician at the Children's Hospital. Next week, Batman versus the Joker.
Dun,
So
dun,
this is
dun.
the second time.
But it's
This
not.
is the second time we've announced that who the villain is going to be for the next week. Unfortunately, as we'll find out, they're wrong. So
Well,
I saw.
actually, yes, because they were shown out of order.
That's what I was wondering, if they were shown out of order,
Yeah.
because people are probably excited to see the Joker next week, and we're disappointed.
Yeah, they were shown out of order. They bumped up the Joker one, I think, to air before this one. So
I got to tell you, one of the things I laughed at is when Batman and Robin went into that secret room, and then on the stage curtain opens, right? And there's this plastic tube in there with a big old huge lock on it. Let's step inside this thing. Like,
well, they were attracted to the bat inside. They had the ultimate bait. You just put a bat inside, and of course, they're both gonna go in too, you know?
yeah, let's both step into this thing with a padlock on the outside of it. It's not going to close on us and lock.
No. But they're pretty confident that they can get out of any trap in any situation. And they do. Even the impossible one that that the inventor couldn't come up with. Although, you'd have to recreate you can only do that trick once because you have to rebuild it every time you want to do it again. So
uh, the explosion blows the thing apart, but for some reason Batman and Robin are fine.
well, their capes. They had
Oh
their
yeah,
capes
that's right. They
protecting
did
them.
wrap their capes around them, didn't they? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll give you that one.
So we have the two mobsters that show up. They pay $100 million or $100,000 because they want to get an opportunity to kill Batman and Robin. They always say they kill Batman. They don't. I mean, Robin's just included, I guess, in the package. But of course, it does not go well for them. They again, for a show that presumably nobody dies in ever. These two guys are definitely dead.
Yeah,
Batman even
definitely.
says, we're gonna have to take these guys to the morgue. Like he even says that, we're taking him to the morgue. Uh, so I think that was pretty surprising. I don't know if this is a trend that we're going to see continue or not, because we've already seen a few people die on this show. We're only 10 episodes in, and I think the body count now is at least 4, if not 5, So that's almost one every other episode, one every story almost, In this
Yeah.
in this case you get 2 for 1. You but a lot of the ways this episode, even though it's written by Lorenzo Semple Jr., who wrote the pilot, who wrote the movie, who wrote a lot of like the Bible of what this show was. It's interesting because even though he's writing and adapting a comic story pretty literally too. I mean, it's pretty faithful outside of a few things. Zelda's not in the comic story. It's a male thief that takes her place. But um I think that it's interesting because this story really radically is different from any of the other stories we've seen. There's no fights with henchmen. There's no we Batman and Robin don't even know who the villain is until the second episode, I think. Which is weird because on the one hand they've met her backstage, but they don't recognize her when she goes to steal the diamond or the gem, the gem in the first episode. So that's kind of weird that they don't recognize her even though they met her backstage before. So I mean, it's little bumps like that, but I do think that it's pretty different. I mean, I don't know if it's just because there's a woman as a criminal, but it's a very different type of story than we usually see with so far with this series.
One of the things I thought was unusual was a lot of times Batman knows what's going on. They had no clue those gangsters were in the mummies. If Zelda hadn't warned them, they probably would have been dead.
Yeah. Yeah. In the original comic story, Batman knows that he recognizes that they're in there. I can't remember exactly what tips him off, but it's not, yeah. I think because they wanted to give Zelda some sort of redemption arc. Uh, that's why they have her save them really at the end. So that at the end, they can have that sequence where uh, she's going to have a job. Even, Bruce Wayne offers her a job at the end.
Where she'll still get to do her craft.
She still get to do the magic, correct? She just won't be able to. And she's not, I mean, despite the fact that she's just knitting away while Harriet is dangling over boiling oil. She's not that maniacal. She's not that violent. She doesn't really, she's just kind of in it because she wants to make some money. She wants a new trap. She wants a new gimmick for her show. And the real villain turns out to be, of course, the inventor.
Yeah, he's the real villain behind this, honestly.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's pushing Zelda to do these evil acts, and because she probably wouldn't without him.
Yeah, I guess she doesn't make enough to give you 100,000, like maybe she should up her ticket prices instead or something, like, instead she has to go steal money. But I mean, I think, but despite that, it's ridiculous, it's silly, but that's par for the course for this show. But I think what makes it interesting, and I don't think this is at all, even though it's different, I still enjoyed watching this one a lot. Mainly because I think Anne Baxter was really captivating as Zelda. I thought she did a great job. She certainly got the memo of what to do in terms of, just to exaggerate, push it over just a little bit, ham it up, and she's a pretty good looker too. So she sort of uses that in this whole episode as well. So I think we'll see her again, but not as this character.
And also got to point out that, of course, this is the first time we've had where Batman, Robin, or Bruce Wayne haven't been in peril. It was Aunt Harriet this time.
Correct. Well,
So,
on the cliffhanger, yes. I mean,
yes.
they do get put into a trap
Oh,
in the
yeah,
second episode. But yeah, so
but
there
briefly.
is the trap. So, but yeah, you're right. In the cliffhanger, it's the first time. I don't know. I wonder. I don't recall Aunt Harriet being in peril that often. So it'll be really interesting to see what if that happens. Um or Alfred for that matter. We haven't seen him in peril. Not that I want to.
All right. Anything else you want to say about this episode?
I don't think so. I mean, it's pretty solid. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay,
So,
because it's a little different. And it's the first time we've seen a character that's, even though the story's based on a comic story, it's not a villain that comes from the comics, and it's one that doesn't show up again. In fact, the only time that we see Zelda ever, as far as I know, is in an episode of Batman Brave and the Bold, the cartoon, where she's just part of in the background. She's just another figure that's breaking out of prison. There's a prison break, and there, as an in joke, they have a lot of the Batman 60s villains breaking out, along with the big villains that we all know, like Joker, Riddler, and stuff like that. So but you see a lot of the 60s ones, um and part of that is because of the rights issues with Fox and Warner Brothers and DC and all that. So, and plus, I don't think anybody was really clamoring. As good as this story was, I don't think there were a lot of people clamoring for more Zelda.
yeah, I don't
But
think so.
I think it would have been interesting if she had appeared again. But yeah, but so far, nope. This is their one-time appearance.
All right. Well, that wraps up another episode. Do you have a shout out, Mike?
I do. Continuing on with the books that I'm using for research and enjoying. I picked up, this is a while ago. I have had this, and I've read it before, but now I'm rereading it again as we're doing the show. But it's called Batmania, and it is a softcover book. It came out in, I think, the 70s. I think 89. Sorry, I was wrong about that. But this talks about this one covers like the crazy merchandise and the toys, the books, all the collectibles that came out because of mainly because of the series. There was some merchandising of Batman prior to the 60s series, but obviously with the popularity of this series, it just anything that could have a bat logo on it, they stuck one on. So you got a lot of weird merchandise, a lot of not so great merchandise, but some really good collectibles as well. So I I don't I have a Batmobile, I think from maybe that era. I'll have to research and see how old that Batmobile is, but that, and I did have a Cooper Batman costume when I was a kid. I have a black and white I have a black and white picture of me as a kid in this Batman Halloween outfit. Um, but I think that's about the only thing I have from that, like from that marketing era of Batman. But no, there was a lot of cool stuff that came out then, and that book sort of talks about it. So I recommend that book as well.
I remember going over to my cousin's house around kindergarten when I was in kindergarten age, and he had a Batmobile I used to play with.
Hmm.
So I do remember that. So I do
Was
remember a
it was
few.
it was it what size was it?
Okay, here we're straining memory here, but I was thinking it was like that maybe.
Okay, so was it like, because I had a Batmobile that my Mego figures fit in. Was it like that big?
I bet it was.
Like about maybe a foot and a half, 2 feet long?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was bigger. I remember that. I mean, I've got this little. This is recent. I got this little bigger than a matchbox size one,
Yeah, yeah.
but his, I remember it being bigger, and I remember it being. I think it was plastic, if I remember right. I know we're going off of a long time ago.
Well, there's a lot to be said for that, but yes, yeah. So, but there was like a ton of stuff, and that came out back then, and we'll probably talk more and more about it as our show goes on, because there's some stuff that I find of interest, and it'll be really interesting when we come up to certain episodes, I think so.
I can tell you, Big Brother's been listening in because I get on Facebook. I've been getting Batman 66 merchandise advertised at me or
Wow,
stuff like that. I'm like, why is all this Batman 66 stuff coming up all of a sudden?
there you go. It knows you. It knows
Yeah,
you.
I've seen mugs and t-shirts and stuff. I just thought it was funny. All right, for my shout out, I came across this Batman: The Greatest Stories Ever Told that I have, and it's been a while since I looked at this thing. I was looking at it, and it looks like it was from '88. So I've had this thing for quite a while, but it's got some good stories in it. It's got like Robin Dies at Dawn, um, the origin of Batman, the birth of the Bat Plane #2,
Hmm.
the autobiography of Bruce Wayne. That's probably the newest story in here. That's from '83. Brave and the Bold number 197, '83. It's probably the newest story in here. But it's got quite a few good stories in it. So I picked this
Nice.
up somewhere. I don't remember where, but it's got some cool stories in it though.
Absolutely. Nice cover too. I like that cover. I don't have that
Yeah.
book, but I've seen it a few times. And it is, yeah, that's pretty cool. But it looks
So
like the back
it
of
was,
it is almost like pop 60s, right? Referencing, right?
yeah. Oh, a 50th anniversary celebration of the greatest Batman stories ever told, as written and drawn by many of the greatest writers and artists ever to grace the comic art medium. And this was actually published by Warner Books. So,
Yeah. Very cool.
all right. If you'd like to comment on anything we've talked about tonight, you can reach us at our feedback line 317-455-8411. Leave us a message, text us, or you can email us at batchumspodcast@gmail.com. All right. You ready to get out of here, Batchum?
Sure thing. Bat chums are ready to move out.
Atomic batteries to power, turbines to speed. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Just wait. The worst is yet to come.